Most flooring companies get this wrong, resulting in wasted time and money that could be spent on getting better results. If you're looking to grow your flooring company, at some point you might have asked yourself, what's better, do you hire in-house or do you hire an agency? This video will explain the pros and cons of outsourcing your marketing or hiring in-house. There's probably a lot of things that you haven't thought about, so I'm here in this video to give you all the information that you need so you can make an informed decision at the end of it. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my opinions and my assessment of what you should do so you can stop wasting money and time on the wrong things. So let's jump into the video where we're going to discuss, should your local flooring company hire in-house or outsource their marketing? So the first thing that we need to look at is, why is marketing actually important for your business? Now I'm going to cover this really quickly. I'm just going to run through these points quickly so you can see the importance of it and why you need to start thinking about it for your flooring company. So the first thing is that it's essential for attracting new business. Second is, it's essential to retain customers. If you're constantly putting out good quality information, people are going to have more faith in you, they're going to persist with you for longer, they're going to come back and they're going to buy off you as well at a later date. It helps businesses communicate their value proposition to potential customers. Marketing also increases brand awareness, it increases recognition, it increases the authoritativeness of your business within your niche. Effective marketing can also help businesses differentiate themselves from their competitors, so it's going to make you stand out from other people if you're running really good campaigns. It also increases inquiries, footfall in your showroom, sales, and obviously your revenue. Marketing can also help you build relationships and trust with customers and other people in business, other partners that you could potentially partner with. A good marketing strategy can also help your business adapt to changing marketing conditions and consumer behaviour. And lastly, it keeps you in the picture and it's always keeping you top of mind. So let's jump straight into the pros and cons of hiring in-house marketing staff. Let's start with the pros. So the first thing is that you train them how you want them to be for your business. So if you train someone up from the ground up in your business, they're going to understand your business a lot better than if you had someone from the outside who didn't necessarily work with you on a day-to-day basis. They're fully dedicated to your company's marketing needs. So it's the only thing they're thinking about. They're not thinking about any other projects outside of your business. It is purely focused on your own business. They have a deeper understanding of the company culture, the goals, and the target audience. So they're going to gel a lot better with your team. They're going to understand where you want to go with your business potentially a lot better. And if they're dealing with your audience, they're working in your shop on a day-to-day basis, then they're going to come into contact with your target audience and they're going to understand them a little bit better than perhaps an agency would that aren't necessarily working in your actual shop every day. They're readily available for collaboration and communication with other departments. So if there is a need to collaborate with other departments, such as your fitting team, going out with them on site, taking some photos, it's going to be a lot easier for them to do that than it would be perhaps an agency that perhaps isn't even based near you. The next is they can liaise easier with other departments, so it sort of follows on from that last point really. It's a lot easier for them to communicate with other departments and get things done and get things moving quicker. In-house staff can provide more personalised and tailored marketing strategies, so it's really easy for you to have a meeting with them on a regular basis in person, where you can go into depth about where you see your company going and how you can develop the marketing strategy to achieve your goals and get where you want to be. You also have greater control and flexibility over your marketing process if you had someone in-house, and in the long run it can lead to more efficient use of company resources and cost savings. If you've got someone that is trained and knows what they're doing within the marketing department, then that might be a little bit smoother for you in the long run. And then the last one is the company can retain full ownership and control over marketing assets and intellectual property. So whatever you create in-house by your own marketing team is going to be your own property. It's not like if you're hiring an agency and they're creating it outside of your business and you would have to request to get that information off them if you needed it, whereas if you've got an in-house marketing team, then they're going to be creating that on your own computers in your own shop and they're going to be saving it to your own hard drives. So really, unless someone is withholding passwords and things like that within your company, you're going to retain full control over all these marketing assets. Okay, so that's the pros of why you'd hire someone in-house. Let's look at the cons. So the first thing is hiring, training and retaining in-house staff can be expensive and time consuming. You've got to find the right person or people if you're going to build a team. You've got to train them in the marketing that they need to do. So marketing is a very, very broad category. There's a lot of types of marketing you can do, and they're not going to be the best at every single type of marketing. They're not going to be suited to every type of marketing. They're not going to enjoy every type of marketing. So you need to train them in the right areas. The next is you need to buy them all the software and tools for the job. I know in SEO there is a lot of tools that you need, a lot of software that you need. So you need to be buying all these subscriptions and this different software to enable them to do the best job possible. And then you or a staff member need to dedicate the time to sit with them and explain what you want and steer them in the right direction. The next thing to think about is limited expertise and skills, particularly in specialised areas like SEO or digital advertising. So really, you can't be an expert in every single area within digital marketing. The problem is a lot of areas within digital marketing, to be any good at them, you need to specialise in them. You can't be good at everything. You just simply won't be able to dedicate enough time and resources to learn every single marketing channel. You know, Google Ads, SEO, social media marketing, social media advertising, graphic design, and marketing even goes as far as networking and events and all that kind of stuff as well. And following on from that point, when you do hire someone for marketing in an in-house role, they're often a bit of a generalist. They're not someone that specialises within a particular area, unless that is what you're actually looking for. Generally, when you're going to hire an in-house marketing specialist, then you're going to hire someone that can do an array of things as opposed to one thing in particular. But like I just mentioned, they're not going to be able to do that array of things to a very high level, whereas in comparison to if you was to hire a specialist, they're going to be able to do that one thing very well, and they're going to get you better results in that one thing. And then the next thing is that you might struggle to dedicate enough time to learn and execute on a strategy well. So a little bit like I've just said, they need to focus on one particular type of marketing before they start trying to conquer everything at once. You're getting them to focus on social media, to run ads, to do SEO. This is too much for one person. You're going to need a specialist, you're going to need a team of specialists to work on each of those departments. So continuing the cons, the next thing is in-house staff can become too focused on internal projects and may not be as up to date on industry trends and best practices. So for example, I know for a fact within SEO it's an ever-changing landscape. The algorithms are updated every single week, every single month, and they have a few major updates per year which really do shake things up, and you've got to be on top of this to really make sure that you're going to be always at the top of the search results. The next thing is, for example, again, SEO is a sum of many parts. SEO is almost an umbrella term for lots of other marketing that comes together to make SEO. So within SEO you need to be a content writer, you need to be a good researcher, you need to build links and relationships with other website owners, you need to be good at technical SEO, you need to be good at the Google Map Pack and understanding how that works, you need to be good at gaining reviews and managing a company's reputation. So there's a lot of things just within SEO that a single marketing specialist within your company is going to struggle to master. You're going to have to get outside help to be able to do all of this stuff well. And the next thing with in-house staff, which is a really big problem, is that they don't have enough exposure to other companies. So what I mean by this is that if they're just working in one company in one niche, they don't get enough exposure to other websites in other niches or other websites within the same niche. They can't see the problems that are happening in these different niches or these different websites, and when these problems do arise on your website, they're going to struggle to actually overcome these issues. They're going to struggle to perhaps outrank someone because they've not actually had the experience. So essentially, when you hire someone in-house and they only work on your website in your company, they're a bit sheltered to the outside world, and this can cause problems in your marketing strategy. The next thing is a smaller team may limit creativity and fresh ideas. You need people around you to generate new ideas. You can't just solely rely on one or two people to generate all the ideas for your company. So the more people that you have working with you and the more people in your network, the better the ideas are going to be, and the more you're going to be able to push your company forward. And as a small business, the likelihood is that you're only actually going to be able to hire one marketing employee. And continuing on with the cons again of hiring in-house, the next thing is going to be limited scalability in terms of expanding and decreasing the marketing team as needed. It's going to be a lot harder for you to employ more staff and get rid of staff if you want to scale up and down the marketing strategy. Let's say you hit a quiet period, it's going to be harder for you to scale up and down your needs in terms of staff, you're going to find that you end up sending out your marketing specialist on jobs and things like that, and that's going to cause problems because it's not the job they signed up for. The next thing to think about is the risk of internal politics and conflicts that can negatively impact the marketing strategy and implementation. So if someone is working within your business, then they're going to be a lot more prone to having conflicts with other members of staff, other departments, issues with the campaign, things that they don't agree with, and that's going to cause problems. It's going to slow down the marketing strategy, it's going to slow down the implementation of it as well. And I think I've already touched on this, but the next thing is they can easily get caught up in non-marketing stuff when other departments and other roles need help. When you go quiet or something like that, then it's going to be very easy for you just to send them to a different department. Or when you need extra help in another department and the marketing strategy and the marketing department isn't seen as a priority, perhaps you're then going to be more prone to sending them over to that department to help out. And this is going to cause issues. The person you've employed is not going to be happy about this generally. They're going to want to do the job that they've actually been employed for, and this means you're also taking them away from something that they should be focusing on. Marketing, any form of marketing, is a very long-term strategy, and although it might not seem that they're very busy at the time, they do need to be continuously doing this marketing for it to have an impact in the long run. The next is too big a workload. So again, like I mentioned, as a small flooring company, you're probably only going to be able to hire 1 or 2 people. And I know that there is a lot of work to be done at all times in a marketing agency and in a marketing campaign. And generally, there's just going to be too much work for them to be able to do in one go. They're only going to be able to focus on one very small thing at a time. This is going to be a very slow process, plus with the added facts that they need to learn how to do it, they need to understand your company and things like that, it's going to really slow down the process. And then lastly, the other thing to think about is just simply the business side of things. Now, when you employ someone, you have to contribute to their national insurance, you have to contribute to their workplace pension, you have to give them company benefits, you have to cover all of their overheads like the software and things like that, like I mentioned earlier, the computers that they're going to be using. There's also going to be unproductive days, there's going to be wasted hours, there's going to be statutory holiday allowance that you need to give them, sick leave, paternity leave, training on all of the tools that they need and the marketing strategies that they need to implement, and then other non-productive time like visiting the restroom, brewing coffee, tea, surfing the internet or socializing. This is all stuff that you need to take into account. And then lastly, something else to consider is misconduct. You can never guarantee that you're going to have a perfect employee, and misconduct is going to cost you a huge amount. Okay, so now we've covered the pros and cons of hiring in-house. Let's now move on to the pros and cons of outsourcing to a third party like an agency or a freelancer. So, like we did last time, let's start with the pros, then we'll move on to the cons. So the pros is, firstly, they have access to a wider range of expertise and skills. So what you'll find is marketing agencies will specialise in one particular type of marketing. Now, in my experience, the worst marketing agencies don't specialise. They are generalists. They try to do everything. So what you really want to do is you want to look for a specialist marketing agency, because they're going to be able to do that one job very well in comparison to a generalist agency that is just going to have a broad range of skills that they won't be able to do to the standard of the specialist agency that's focusing on that one thing. And the other thing that you can look at in terms of specialist is specialists within particular niches. Now, I know that there's agencies out there that specialise in law, in plumbing, in education, in healthcare, and then me especially, I specialise in flooring, which is why I'm doing this video from the flooring niche. So look for those agencies, because they're going to understand what's actually going on within that industry and in that niche, and they're going to be able to produce better, more predictable results for your company. The next thing is that a good agency is actually often your marketing consultant. Now, they might be helping you out with one very specialist type of marketing, but you'll probably find that they have a very broad knowledge in every other area of marketing, because marketing is all really interlinked at the end of the day. So they're going to have a broad knowledge. This is going to be someone that you can always turn to get an outside perspective on your business and get their advice. The next thing is that agencies have more resources, they have more tools and industry connections to achieve the marketing goals that you're looking for. So agencies are going to invest in the best tools. They're going to want to do the best possible job they can to build their reputation, so they're always going to be looking out for tools that are going to really increase and give them this advantage over their competitors and your competitors. They have access to the best communities. So as an agency owner, you're going to seek out the best communities with other agency owners that are going to help you grow and improve your business. So you're going to have these connections that you can talk to when you need advice to keep pushing your campaign forward and getting you the results that you want. The next thing is that you don't even need to think about these resources when you hire an agency. If you hire the right agency, they're going to be the ones that are seeking these resources. You don't need to, because they're doing it for you. And really following on from that, seeking out new technology and new resources, a good agency is going to spend more time on innovation and developing the products and services that they offer to improve your results. They're going to dedicate time to doing this, to developing their products and services to give you a better service, which is something that you possibly can't do in-house. You're not going to have the time and resources to do that. And then the next thing is that a good agency is going to help you set realistic targets. So for example, me, specializes in the flooring niche, I'm going to be able to set you targets that are going to be achievable, rather than you just coming up with this random sort of target that you think is achievable, which actually isn't within the timescale that you're thinking. So essentially you'll be able to get the best advice from agencies that have got experience within your niche and within the marketing world as a whole. The next pro is that outsourcing allows for more flexibility in terms of scaling marketing efforts up and down as needed. So we spoke about this earlier. When you're hiring in-house, it's harder to do this because it's going to be harder to get rid of staff, to hire staff. With an agency, you can scale up and down your budget, you can change the level of service that you're getting, and you don't have to worry about scaling up because the agency are the ones that have to do that. So if your business grows and the demand grows for what you're needing, then it's the agency that need to scale up and not you. And a little bit like I just mentioned, where agencies have access to the best tools and the best communities, it's going to be far easier for an agency to scale up their business to grow with you than it is for you to go out and look for the right kind of staff that are going to help you grow in the marketing department. And then continuing with the pros again, agencies work with a lot of different businesses, so they have a much better understanding of marketing. So a little bit like I mentioned earlier, where in-house teams don't necessarily get the exposure that they need to overcome problems and solve problems. With an agency, they're going to deal with a lot of other companies. They're going to deal with a lot of companies that within your niche or outside your niche, and this is invaluable experience. The agency specializes within your particular niche, for example. They're going to understand what works and what doesn't work. They're going to have tried and tested a lot of these strategies, and they're only going to implement the things that are actually going to get you results. So yeah, like I just mentioned, they have time and resources to test ideas. They're able to find unique advantages over your competition and also over their competition, other agencies. They're going to be doing things that are going to give them the edge and give them better results than what their competing agencies are getting for other people. The next thing is that hiring and outsourcing to a third-party agency or freelancer is going to be more cost effective, as outsourcing can save you money compared to hiring full-time in-house marketing teams. So here are some of the things that are going to make it cost effective. The first thing is that you don't have to spend time managing or micromanaging. If you've got a good agency, it's going to be a case of you paying them the money and letting them get on with it. The next thing is that you don't have to pay everything we spoke about earlier. So statutory holiday allowance, sick leave, paternity, maternity, training, and everything else that we spoke about. All of that stuff, it doesn't apply to hiring someone and outsourcing an agency. And then continuing on with the pros, the agency or freelancer takes full responsibility for the project and ensures delivery of results. There's no hiding. They have done this multiple times with other companies, so they need to deliver you what they're actually promising you. And a good agency will take ownership of it. The next thing is that it's potentially less stress for you to hire an agency. Now, I know in the past, and I have heard from experience, that people have had problems with agencies and it has caused them stress, but if you find the right agency, it's not going to be stressful for you. For starters, there's not going to be any office politics. Next, it's going to be generally hands off for you. If you've got a good agency, it's going to be a case of just letting them get on with it, them explaining to you what they need to do, and then you agreeing with that and moving forward with it. Now, the next thing is, and in my opinion, this can be seen as a good and a bad thing, but there's less commitment to each other. If what you're doing is not working, you can see that the relationship's not working or you're not getting the results that you wanted, you can get rid of them right away and you can move on to another agency, or you can then go to the in-house route. On the flip side, they can also, and they should tell you if something's not working as well. So perhaps that the relationship between the both of you is not working. Perhaps they have identified that they just haven't got the input from you or the resources they need from you to be able to move the campaign in the right direction. So they can easily get rid of you, and that's a good thing. You want an agency to get rid of you if they see that it's not working. This is going to save you time and money, and you can move on to the next thing. Agencies should not work with everyone. They should be picky about who they work with, and they need to have a criteria about who they work with. It could be revenue, revenue, it could be your commitment, it could be the type of marketing. There's a lot of factors that an agency needs to take into account before they start working with you, and also along the way this needs to be reassessed. And like I say, this can be seen as a good or bad thing, so you can make your mind up what you think that is. And then lastly, to finish off the pros, a good agency is a partner to you. A little bit like I said earlier, when you've got someone that's working in-house, they're not really a partner to you, they're just someone that you're telling what to do. Whereas an agency, this is someone that sees your business from the outside, and that's very valuable. Sometimes when you work in your business, you're blind to the things that other people can see from the outside. So having a partner or an agency that can see this sort of stuff is going to be very invaluable to helping your business grow and moving it forward. Okay, so now we've done the pros, let's move on to the cons. So the first thing is, and again, this can be seen as a good and a bad thing, but you're going to have limited control over the marketing strategy and process. The agency that you hire are going to have their own process, and they're going to know what works and what doesn't work. Now, the reason this could be bad is because if you don't agree with what they're doing, or you want to take the marketing strategy in a different direction, it's going to be very hard for you to change this when you're working with an agency that are using their processes. On the other hand, this can actually be a good thing, because you shouldn't really be dictating to an agency what you want them to do. They should be advising you as the people that are in the place of trust and the place of authority. They should be advising you as to what actually gets the result. So that's why it's a good and a bad thing. The next thing is that there could be potential communication barriers and potential misunderstandings with third-party agencies or freelancers. Sometimes when you're communicating through email and you're only communicating through phone or Zoom and things like that, and not necessarily in person, or you're just generally not there every day with them like you would be with an in-house employee, things are going to be missed, there's going to be communication errors, and this can cause a little bit of friction every now and then. So the way to overcome this is just to make sure that the agency that you work with are good communicators. The next thing is that an agency or a freelancer are going to be less familiar with your business and your target audience in comparison to an in-house team. Now, the one thing I would say is this does depend on the agency. For example, if you're going with a niche agency, an agency that specialises within your niche, then they are going to understand your audience, because that's their job, is to understand your niche and your audience and what works best for you. If you go with a generalist agency, then yeah, perhaps they're not going to understand your audience, and an in-house team that is there in your shop, seeing your customers come in and out, they're going to understand it a lot better. The next thing is a possible lack of alignment with your company culture and your company values. So if this isn't translated properly at the very start of the campaign and the very first meetings, then this could be a problem down the line. This could be that the agency does things that goes against your values and your cultures. So again, that's going to cause issues, it's going to cause friction. This could potentially lead to a fallout between yourself and the agency or freelancer. The next thing would be security and confidentiality concerns with sharing sensitive business information with third-party agency or freelancer. So unlike when you've got an in-house employee or a team, the work that the agency are going to be doing is going to be saved on their computers, on their hard drive. So it's going to be a little bit harder for you to request this property, these assets, when you actually need them or when you part ways with the agencies. Now, a good agency knows that this is your property, these are your assets, and they will happily give them over. But if there is friction between yourself and the agency that you've been working with, if it ended on a bad note, potentially there's going to cause issues, and potentially they're going to try and withhold information from you. Now, I'm not going to deny this does happen. It's not me, I would never do that, but I have heard it in the past where people do withhold this information. So you just got to be careful about the people that you work with and make sure that they've got a good track record. It's not necessarily about the work that they've done. Can people vouch for how ethical this company is that you're potentially going to be working with? The next thing to think about is less control over the agency itself. You have less control over the quality of work they do, you have less control over the deadlines, and you have less control over the people you work with. So the agency can put out occasionally bad quality work, or if you haven't actually done your research on this agency and you hire the wrong agency, all of their work could be bad quality. And this is going to be harder to spot and avoid when it's not being done under your roof. And if you're working to deadlines, then the agency are not as committed to these deadlines as perhaps an in-house team would be. And then lastly, control over the people that you work with. An agency can quite easily have multiple employees, and they can allocate a particular employee to you. You might not get on with that employee. You might have had the sales meeting with another member of staff, and you might have already got on with that member of staff, but when they start allocating members of their team to your project, then you might not necessarily get on with those people that are allocated to your actual project. And that can cause potential issues. So there we go. That is the pros and cons of hiring in-house and outsourcing to a marketing agency or a freelancer. Now let's just look at the main factors to consider when deciding whether to hire in-house or outsource. So these are some of the things that I think are the most important. We'll run through these really quickly because it is really what we've just covered. So you should review everything we've just discussed. Go back through this video, note down some of the pros and cons. The next thing to think about is the budget and cost effectiveness. Do you have the budget to hire a team and keep building a team and training a team and all of the software and the things that go with it? Or would you rather just hire an agency and just pay them one fee, the fee that they're asking for that particular product and service? The next thing is expertise and skill requirements for the marketing strategy. Do you need someone specialist for a particular type of marketing? Do you need an SEO specialist? Do you need a Google Ads specialist? Or if you was to hire in-house, what have you got to train them in to become the specialist within that space? And you've got to weigh up what is the better option. Next thing to think about, it goes hand in hand with budget and cost effectiveness, but available resources and infrastructure for in-house marketing. It's not just a case of hiring someone and saying off you go, start doing the marketing for our company. You have to buy them the laptop, the software, you have to give them the guidance, the training and everything else that comes with it. So it's not really as straightforward as just hiring someone and saying off you go. The next thing to think about is flexibility and scalability needs. So how do you see the future? Do you think that you're going to explode? Do you think it's really going to grow and you need to have the facility to upscale really quickly? Do you want slow, steady growth? Do you want to hire one employee at a time and keep building it up slowly and slowly? And do you also think that there could be a bit of a slow time for you? Could there be a period where things really slow down and you've got to scale down quickly, or you've got to just cut the budget a little bit to be able to keep ticking over? The next thing to think about is time to market and speed of implementation. If you was to hire an in-house marketing specialist, the chances are it's not going to be a very quick process. You've got to get them trained in the right marketing, you've got to get them the tools and you've got to set them up. If you was to hire a marketing agency, they're ready to go. They do this every single week, every single month, and they're constantly taking on new clients, so they have that process ready, they have the onboarding process ready, and they can get things moving as quickly as possible. Next is company culture and communication requirements. So you've really got to think about, will an agency work well with your business, or will an internal team be a better option? And then lastly, it's the desired level of control over the marketing strategy and assets. Are you happy with having an agency that is fully in control of your marketing strategy and they're steering you in a particular direction? Or would you rather have full control over that? Would you rather have someone reporting to you every single week or almost every day, and you can really dictate to them what needs to be done? So let's now look at some tips for making the best decisions for your flooring company. So I'm going to run through these really quickly because a lot of these points are pretty self-explanatory. So the first thing is conduct a cost-benefit analysis of both options. The second thing is consider the company's short-term and long-term goals. The next is to assess the company's current resources and skill sets. Next is to research potential in-house candidates or third-party agencies thoroughly. Next is to evaluate the company's culture and communication needs. Following on from that, you'd want to keep the scalability and flexibility needs in mind of your company. Next, you'd want to consult with industry peers and experts of their opinions and insights, so people that have potentially worked with other agencies in the past and things like that, and have different connections with different agencies and companies. Then you might actually want to consider a hybrid approach that combines in-house and outsourced marketing efforts. So you could hire a internal marketing specialist, but they might say to you, oh, we need to outsource this particular part of it. So there is always that option, and it's a hybrid approach is probably a very good option for a lot of companies out there. And then lastly, what you'll actually find is there's a lot of companies out there that have full in-house marketing teams, but they still hire marketing consultants to advise them on the direction of their marketing strategies and their campaigns. And the reason they do this is because, like I said, these marketing consultants, these SEO consultants, these ads consultants, they have experience in all of the different industries, they have experience in different websites and working with different companies, so they can give you an outside perspective on what to do. They've seen a lot of these problems arise before, they've overcome a lot of these problems, so they're going to help you move things forward a lot quicker than if you was just to rely on the internal team that haven't really been exposed to many other companies. So let's move on to the cost of employees versus agencies. So here's a few points that you want to take into consideration. The cost of employees versus agencies does vary based on expertise, location and services needed. In-house staff can be more expensive initially due to recruitment, hiring, training and benefits cost. The next thing is that the cost can also depend on the level of experience, the level of marketing and the types of marketing that you need. So now let's just actually look at what it would actually cost to hire someone. And what we're going to do is we're going to base this on the minimums. So this is the absolute minimum cost that it will cost for you to hire someone in-house. So you can see here, how much does an employee cost in the UK? What is the minimum wage? So the minimum wage, as you probably know, for age 23 and over is £9.50 an hour, 21 to 22 is £8.20 an hour, and 18 to 20 is £6.65 an hour. So assuming that you hire these people, whatever age bracket that you hire them in, assuming that you hire them full-time for 37.5 hours per week, which is the average for the UK, and they work 52 weeks per year. This is going to cost you, for someone aged over 23 years old, £19,032 per year. If you was to hire someone aged 21 to 22, it's going to cost you £16,536 per year. If you're going to hire someone even younger than that, 18 to 20, then it's going to cost you £13,131 per year. This is the minimum, and this is not the true cost of the employee. Now, obviously, the younger that you hire, the less experienced they're going to be, and you're probably going to be able to pay them less. But to be honest, who's really going to want to work for minimum wage? You know, you're going to want to pay them more than minimum wage to actually have employees that are satisfied to work for you. Like I say, this is the minimum, and it is going to cost you a lot more than what I'm saying here, but this is just to give you a rough idea and to put things into perspective. So now let's look at how much an agency is going to cost you. So it depends on the level of service you need, and it depends on the type of marketing that you need. So this is just a general rule of thumb, but I would say SEO, you shouldn't be spending any less than £1,000 per month on it, because if you are, the agencies that you hire, they're not going to have the time, resources and budget to produce the best quality work. If they're charging you less than £1,000 per month, they're probably hiring very cheap content writers, they're probably getting very cheap links, they're probably cutting corners, and they're not really giving you a full SEO service. Social media marketing, again, it's the same sort of price, £1,000 per month minimum. Google Ads, you've really got to take into account ad spend with this, so really the minimum, absolute minimum that you want to spend on ad spend to get anywhere would be £500 a month, but really you want to be spending around the £1,000 per month, because Google Ads needs optimizing exactly the same as social media does and exactly the same as SEO does. If you're spending too small amount on Google Ads, you're not going to get the data you need to compete against your competitors. And then on top of your ad spend, you have to take into account the management fees that the agency is going to charge you. Generally, this starts at about £200-300 per month, which can go upwards depending on how much you're spending on ads. And it's worth noting that you could be spending 2 to 4k per month and it would still work out cheaper than building an in-house team. Because let's face it, if you hire an in-house team, you should not be trying to get them to do every single aspect of marketing. Most of the time, you should only start with one channel, master it, make it profitable, and then move on to the next, and then increase your budget. So it does not make sense for you to hire someone and get them to do everything. They need to be a specialist in something. You need to train them to become a specialist in something and really start making you money within that one channel before they move on to the next. So what should you do? When should you hire in-house? So here are a few points that I would say to hire in-house. So the first thing is that if you have a consistent and ongoing need for marketing expertise, if you have a strong company culture and you want to maintain full control over the marketing strategy and process, if you require a high level of collaboration and communication with other departments, if you want to establish a dedicated marketing team with a deep understanding of your business and target audience, if you have the resources and budget to invest in hiring, training and retaining staff in-house, if you need more personalised and tailored marketing strategies for your business. There's some of the key points to think about when hiring in-house. How about when you outsource then? So here are some of the key points to think about then. If you want a long-term partner that will help you assess and grow your business from an outside perspective. If you want a short-term project or a specific marketing campaign that requires specialist expertise. If you need access to a wider range of marketing skills and resources that you have in-house. If you have limited resources or budget for hiring, training and retaining in-house staff. If you want to reduce the time and cost associated with recruiting and managing an in-house team. If you want to be more flexible and be able to scale up or down your marketing efforts as needed. And lastly, if you want fresh ideas and perspectives from a third-party agency or freelancer. And then lastly, I'll just give you my opinion. Now, of course, my opinion is a little bit biased being an agency owner, but I'll give it anyway. So in my opinion, for 99% of small local flooring companies, hiring in-house does not make any sense. Hiring an agency has far more pros than hiring in-house. And of course, this is only true if you hire the right agency. And that's the key point there. You need to hire the right agency that understands your niche, can get good results, can get consistent results, and really does work with you to grow your business and get it to where it needs to be and achieve your goals. So that's it for the video. Now, what I have done and what I will continue to do is create free downloads that are going to help you grow your local flooring company. So if you want to take advantage of these free downloads and these resources that I've created, then simply head to my website at edge2edgeseo.com/resources, and you can download all of the free tools and guides and workbooks that I've created that are really going to help push your flooring company forward. This is going to be helpful for you if you've got an internal marketing team, or if you just want to learn a little bit about the strategies that we'd use to market your business before hiring an agency. Now, if you decide after watching this video and doing some research that hiring in-house is not for you, or you've tried hiring in-house before and it hasn't worked, then why don't we jump on a call to see how I can help you move your flooring company forward and achieve your goals. So if this is something that is of interest of you, just follow the link below in the description where we can schedule a call where we can go over this and we can see how we can move your flooring company in the right direction. So that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and if you got some value out of this, please hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel where I'm going to be continuing to create good quality content that's going to help move your flooring company forward. Also, follow the links in the description below to all of the other socials where you can follow and connect with me on those. And if you want to continue your learning and you want to know a good place to start marketing your company, there's another video that I've created on how to create the perfect local flooring company website. So just visit the link in the description below and it will take you straight to that video. So as usual, thank you for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next.